Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is Thursday, one day away from 3-day weekend. America takes off Monday, and I'm thinking I will be taking off Monday too at the same time. I think that's how that plays out. Because the markets are closed here. There won't be any real, any action whatsoever. I can go through things if you want me to go through things, but the level of participation lately says, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's not going to be any people dying to ask me a question. So what we have now is we are basically inches away from the 3-day official opening of summer in America. That's how it plays out. And now our Memorial Day is Monday. From the Great War, World War One, and the poppies, and just the whole bit. Gallipoli, all the history of the Earth having Donnybrooks against each other. Indeed. So there it is, right there. The dollar that's copper, moving down on the second day. Let's go over to the dollar index, get a flavor of what's going on there. There's the dollar index. Still, it's down today. Interesting, because the Fed numbers came out yesterday. Why there's some derivative traders still anticipating 2 Fed cuts this year, I have no idea. But it's only in the 30-40 percentile at this point. But at this point in time, what the notes, what the release of information yesterday, pretty made it very clear that some of the members are actually thinking about raising interest rates. But we know that's not going to happen. There's no way in the world Mr. Powell is going to raise rates. But him dropping rates, that I don't see. And if he doesn't drop them in July, I really have a hard time believing he's going to drop them almost a month away, or 6 weeks away from the election in September. So, still fighting the hay fever. What else can we say about those notes yesterday? It was interesting having some of these Fed members, basically saying there's more of a reason to raise at this point than lower, was really an eye opener. I say it all the time, but it's always nice when the whole gig, the Fed people actually say it. To me, I'm so happy that sometimes the Fed can actually be civil. Our Fed at this point is off the rails, has no real clear direction, printing money like it means nothing, doing everything to hurt America. Let's put it this way. What it does to help America is so small compared to what it does to hurt America. And so, we're really trapped at this point until the election. And that's why we said, I think our title yesterday was basically a sideways chop. Let's see. Let me just double check to make sure I'm hearing myself. Oh, yeah, I do. I hear myself. Yo, Robin, what's cooking?
Are you having difficulties?
No,
How come you're not online?
I'm online. Oh, God, I can even hear you.
I can't even hear or see you.
Yeah, I can hear you talking to me right now on yeah.
On the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see you on. Can you send me the link again?
Oh, sure.
You sent me.
No problem at all.
Coming today.
No problem.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Let's send Robin a link. Let's see. Go with that. We go here. Right there. There we are. Paste. Zip-de-doo-dah. All right. So, where was I? Let me think where I was at. I was at talking about how it's harmed us more than helped us. And yesterday's Fed minutes made it pretty clear. One of the things I got out of it I thought was very interesting is that they really feel that they need about 3 months of just 2% inflation before they should lower rates. I like that. I don't believe it, but I like it. In other words, I think if they were at 2.1, instead of at 3.6 or 3.5 or 4 point whatever it is at this point, if they got down to 2.2, one time I think they'd start lowering rates. They would do anything to keep the politicians happy, keep the president of the United States happy. They just don't have the justification. Too many middle of the road Democrats are saying you're killing our economy. You're killing the voters who won't want to vote for us if we keep on telling them that we are in a great economy right now. Matter of fact, 82% of Americans right now believe we're in a recession. Now we know we're not in a recession because we had one in the beginning of the Biden administration going into the first. I guess it was at the 80. I guess it was the last quarter or first quarter of 81 and 21 and 22. We had 2 quarters of minus GDP. Unfortunately, the White House declared that it's not a recession because it doesn't look right. But we had GDP in the minus for 2 quarters, and that's considered a recession. Now, we just saw the GDP come out a couple of weeks ago, and it was at 1.6. Do I expect to see it go minus the next time around? Not particularly, but they were anticipating a 3 point something, and it was 2 points lower. So could we get a 1.6 crash again in the sense of, a 1.5% drop and be only like 0.2% plus, which would really freak out markets even more? They would think that the Fed, the way the markets interpret that is, since they know there's a free Fed put all the time to protect their equity, they would interpret it as, oh boy, they're going to lower rates. Let's take the market up. And so that's that is where it's at. All right. So from there, we I guess we should dance our way over to the euro. Let's take a look at the euro this morning. See what the euro is up to. Let's see what the price tag is on it this morning. Let's see. There's the euro right there on the beta. You see it's trading in the... it's trying to lift up, actually. We're doing it on both of them. You can see that. We're in a weekly buy still. It hasn't backed off that much. And then we go over to the old platform. Right there. You can see it's trying to bounce. It's hitting that blue line again, that 1.60 Fibonacci again, banging against that again. And at the same time, what else we can say about it? So this is the 4th day in a sell, but they could push it a little bit more. Bonds are, I think the bonds are moving down. Let's take a look and see. See where bonds are. Take a look at where the 30-year is. There's a lot of frustration with Mrs. Yellen doing all the financing in the 90-day bills, paying an enormously high price because 90-day interest rates are in the fives and 10 years are in the fours. So that has a lot of people frustrated with Mrs. Yellen. And she's your classic Democrat. They always come up with these ridiculous things. And then they blame everybody else but themselves or admit. It was nice, though. I can say this. It was nice that Mrs. Yellen had said that she's really sorry now that she called it transitory. That's good because I've heard the Fed chair kind of dance around it and said, yes, it was not accurate. That's how he said it. But she said she's really sorry she did. And then the White House, obviously, as far as they're concerned, the economy is in really great shape, so it doesn't really matter for them to care one way or the other. They keep on telling everybody every day that the economy is in the best shape it's ever been in. So they just want to prove how bad our media is, I guess. All right, how inaccurate it is. So from there, I can see bonds are lifting up again. Let's show you on the screen here. It's right there. That's right. There we go. There it is. See, it's popping up there today. And let's see if we can straighten that out because it's showing a buy yesterday with the line in there. So this thing's really radical. It's very hard to adjust the settings constantly. There we go. So they went into the buy yesterday. Close. And it's trying to stay up there today. You can see that. And, that's good. When it's rising like that in price, interest rates are dropping. I'll say it one more time. When it's rising in price, that's what we're looking at here is the price of the bond, not the yield, not the interest rate, the price of the bond, what you pay for it when you buy it. And you see it's trying to move up. Okay. And then let's go back to the currencies right there, as I have a cough drop in my mouth, so I'm not coughing away. And you can see that euro just trying to lift up against the dollar. We got a little bottoming going on there as we speak. And you can see the weekly is still in a weekly buy for 3 weeks. Cable. There's cable. Cable's acting extremely strong. It's hard to say exactly, what. I don't follow politics over there as much as I used to, solely because it's been somewhat confusing. I mean, there's no Margaret Thatcher. They put a woman in there. It was like Margaret Thatcher. They got rid of her after 2 weeks. They made her prime minister, and within 2 weeks they threw her out. So it's hard to take them too serious because they keep on wanting to fall back to New Labour. The Tory party has a natural tendency now to fall back to New Labour and Neil Kinnock. Is it Neil Kinnock? No, Tony Blair. Tony Blair. I'm sorry, Tony Blair. They seem to want to fall back to Tony Blair days. New Labour. And it's like New Tory, or the New Norm Tory, where they're gentler and kinder and just a little socialist at times. And they're not into supply-side economics. But you can see the strength here against the dollar has been climbing. And we're, 2+ weeks in a buy. Let's see what the beta looks like. There's the beta. There we are right there. You see it's really pushing up hard. And it's 3 weeks in a buy there instead of the 2 on the old platform. And, every time we go into a buy, like right there, it found ways to go up. Goes into a sell, they do break down a little bit, and then back into a buy again, and then goes into a sell here, and then now it's starting to turn up again. It's a tight market. You know, you see where it's open, high, low, and close are so tight. It is a tight market. So it's not really teaching us anything per se. You know, I understand yesterday the betting was Trump is 17% ahead of Mr. Biden. And it's going to be really hard to steal that many votes. You know, I figure that they probably have at least 5 million illegal voters at this point all ready to go. Because the border is open for 3 years now, and they've got 10 million illegal aliens roaming the country with nobody paying attention, and they're registering them to vote. And so, you know, maybe they're going to get 5-6 million votes out of them, but I just don't see it. I think that the Republicans are going to be out there registering votes just as much as they are, and harvesting votes just as much as they are. And I think the population is going to stand up and say no. No. All right. From there, we're going to go to the Swiss, the real inflation fighters compared to Federal Reserve, who keeps on telling us that we're going to lower rates with our inflation rising, print more money with the inflation still rising. So I would say that the Swiss are definitely the inflation fighters, and the Fed is not. And you see there, let's put it up on the screen. There. You see that strength in it, and it's bouncing back into the weekly buy with no problem. And that's good. You know, it's hanging around, you know, in a tight range up in the low 90s. That's fine with me. You know, it's not touching 92 or 95 or 97 or 101. So they are definitely doing the job they're supposed to do for the people of Switzerland. All right. From there, we slide over to the yen. Yen's like on a slow, steady march up. It's taking out these highs there. You know, we're in a weekly buy for, what was that, 3, 6, 9. This is the 10th week. You see the fast, which broke down below the zero line right there, is now leaping through the manifold and the green line together. That can be very positive at times. And you can see when it did it here, a week later, it took off again. So that is the yen. From there, we slide over to the Turkish lira. Turkish lira is flirting on the edge of trying to get back into the buy, but we're hoping it stays inside this nice. I think we should we change that color? Let's do this. Yellow. I like that. I love it that it would stay inside that range. Wouldn't it be nice? Another year and a half in that range. Be quiet. You know, people could adjust for the high costs. Companies could adjust for the high costs and the inflation. You know, government could start to explore new ideas or new experiments that maybe not hurt it so much. And after 33 weeks in a buy, we went into the weekly sell right there. And then within the following week, it was right back into the buy again. All right. From there, now we start to head towards the metal complex. We go over to the South African Rand. And you can see right there, it's a second day lifting up. And we have to just assume right off. I did see it down early this morning. Let's throw it up on the beta right there. See, it's moving down the way it is moving up with the currency. The currency is moving up and metals are going down. And even flirting with a weekly sell. Interesting. Let's go over to the main platform and see if we're seeing a weekly attempt there. I don't think so. Ooh, we are. How about that? It's broken through. So we'll go like this and put the cute little pink circle around it. There it is right there. And so we're getting some pressure there on the gold because, again, South African Rand is bouncing up. And we've given you our opinion and our philosophy about the whole South African Rand metals complex and how we are concerned that there's it's almost like a 33% premium on the currency itself. Things are just not working well in South Africa for the last year and a half. It's never been this aggressive compared to the way gold is. All right. Elections must be coming up soon. Maybe that will help out. Who knows who they're going to put in there next? Could be, they keep on putting these Marxists in there. Maybe they'll put somebody with some half sanity. All right, from there we go over to silver. Let's see what silver looks like. Silver. Right there. Now the weekly is not having any effect. You can see that. We're in a second day of a sell, but the weekly itself, not even attempting to do anything. Now let's go over to beta. Now beta, this is yesterday's close of the weekly. So look at that. There's silver. And the beta is driving into the minus on the daily, of course, but not just like over here on the main platform. It's still holding up very comfortably in the buy. It'll be interesting tomorrow to see where today's was. All right. That's the silver. And then from there, I said this yesterday. I might have said it a couple of days ago. With the election being so important to American the American the country itself, and moving away from this Marxist open borders thing, I could see where money is slowly finding its way to it parked in metal, because if Mr. Biden won and the Democrats won the House or the Senate, it would just be devastating to the American economy. Just devastating. I could see, I don't care how much the Fed tries to print, money's going to walk away like there's no tomorrow, because their illegality is just become too obvious. There's copper. They're trying to say that the copper is being enticed by AI. In other words, the need for copper to build machines and storage and so forth. So that's what they're really giving it, is the AI credit. That's why it leaps so much from from where it went. And all right. So there is the copper, and you can see it's trying to lift up a little bit here this morning. Let's put it up over here, see what it looks like there. And the weekly is still holding on just like that, right there. Both the fast and the slow are above the manifold at the moment. And then the last last metals we look at is the platinum right there, which has been fascinating. It's been a downwardly move. It's leading this market for 4 days now. Moving down and not looking back. As much as I always call it the most dangerous short in the world, money knew that they were going to be putting pressure on the silver and the gold, and they jumped in and started putting pressure on the platinum before. It's kind of stalled out the last day or so. It's not exactly, exploding down, but it's not taking the weekly. It's not heading into a weekly sell. It's just a daily sell now for 4 days. And then, that's it. That's the metals. let's check the chat line. Hello, Robin. Yeah. So from there, where do we go from there? Let's go to the energy sector. And let's put it up over there. And there it is, July. You can see they're lifting it up. They're trying to put some pressure on the upside. Flirting with the weekly buy. Right there. How about that? A little pressure on it. Now, over on the beta, let's go put that up. There it is, the beta. That weekly has not lifted up yet. We're only seeing yesterday, and we're seeing today's, lifting up. So tomorrow, this should be really close to the zero line. You can see the fast algo is above the zero line by just a teeny little bit. And we'll see, the daily is having a problem climbing into the buy, but it is above the zero line, as you see right there. And right there, it's above it. So, I guess what it was is that the news that came out over the last, the last 5 days, Mr. Biden is draining reserves in the Northeast to try to get the gas prices down for the holiday and for the summer season. So instead of drilling, he just keeps on taking reserves from strategic reserves for the military, keeps on spending it. I could see the next presidency, if Mr. Trump wins, which I believe he's going to, stop all that stuff. Where you can't just keep on pulling from the reserves for fun, for political reasons. All right. From there, let's put it up on the beta. There's the beta. And let's put in Brent right there. And there's Brent. And Brent is having that same look. Let's do that again. Brent. There it is. You see 3 days in a sell. And you can see 5 weeks in a sell. It went into the weekly sell. Where was that? The week of April 22nd, it closed. Remember, it shows up on Monday or Sunday or something like that. That's what drives me crazy. I'm trying to fix that. And so on the 22nd, around in here somewhere, it closed in a weekly sell. And or right there at the top, went into the weekly sell. Either way you look at it. And kind of the same way, I guess you could say, as the main platform did the same thing. Let's just show you real quick on West Texas Intermediate. See right there. What's that date there? That is April 20. What is that? That's April 19th. So it was in this week right here. It went into the sell. And then, they slammed it from the 83 area down to the 78 area. About a $5 drop. Not wild and woolly of any type, but definitely pressure, that's for sure. That's when he started releasing. He had announced about 2 weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago, he announced it. So he let his friends know they could sell crude short and make some money. Mr. Biden does all kinds of things like that. Right now, the Congress has identified over $25 million in payments to him through his grandchildren, through his brother, through his son, that made it into his own account, that he's been selling information for decades and selling top secret information for decades, and does all kinds of weird stuff. But he's a Democrat, so no one seems to, the FBI and the and the Justice Department have no interest in prosecuting him. All right. From there, we go over to nat gas. There's natural gas. Activate. You see another high, and weeks upon weeks in the buy, and then over on the beta. Where's it at? Right. It's right here somewhere. NG. There it is, right there. Excuse me. Let's go with another cough drop. All right. Yeah, Mr. Trump has a rally in the Bronx tonight. All right, and there is natural gas on the beta. Let's show you that. Looking the same way. 5 weeks in a buy. And, I mean, was it? I think that's 1 day in a sell, maybe? Yeah, 1 day in a sell out of like 16 days. So, 17 days. Let's see, what do you got here? It's 5, 10... 15, like 17, 18 days, and a buy out of 17 out of the last 18 days it's been in a daily buy. Oh yeah, Nevada, they're going to split the stock. It was right where they, matter of fact, the option traders were even discounting it even more. So, 10-year bond is yielding 4.43. 2-year bond is yielding 4.89. Bitcoin up a couple $100. We'll take a look at that. All right. From there, we go to the down to Brazil. Not Brazil. I'm sorry, Spain. And we go take a look at the energy stock down there. You can see 10 weeks in a buy right there. What's interesting is you have 7 days in a sell from there, and it's trapped at the $25 area. So that's where we stand now with the what do you call it, the energies in Europe. This is the only way we can view energy in Europe, through this stock. There's not a lot of open market, type products you can follow. And this is the one, and it matches perfectly all the time with natural gas. It goes up when natural gas goes up, and it goes down when natural gas goes down in price. So that's the good thing about it. All right, that completes the energy. So from there, we can take a peek at some of the other products around the planet and see what's going on with the Nikkei. Nikkei's a good one to look at. Let's see what the Nikkei's doing this morning. Right there. As the yen slowly climbs up, it's not taking out the all-time highs in the Nikkei. So they've the inflation traders have kind of backed off now. At the same time, we are still 2 weeks in a buy. We'll see how tomorrow brings in, what today is. This is always a day behind. We're working on it, fighting with the code. We'll figure it out. And then from there, we slide over to the Kospi in South Korea, right there. And you can see there, it's been big sideways action, lots of daily sells, and it goes up and it finds a way to go down. And we went into the weekly buy last week, and now we are in the weekly sell as we speak. So All right. From there, we go over to Taiwan, right there, and look at the Taipei index. You can see 5 full weeks in a buy right there. And at the same time, yesterday they closed in a buy, and today they're even higher with a green dot. So it's got to be 2 days in a buy as we speak. And that is the Taipei in Taiwan. From there, we'll go to their competition in Shanghai. Right there, there's Shanghai. And you can see they sold that down today. And they started to push into the sell yesterday. You can see that right there. Yesterday, the histogram was heading south. And more on the negative side than the positive side. But we had a green dot, so it was kind of stalled there. It was giving you a head warning that this was falling apart. And sure enough, they slammed it today. Took it down to there. It'll be interesting to see where the weekly is tomorrow. And then we go over to Philippines. See what the Philippines are up to. Philippines are trying to slide into the weekly sell now too. Look at that. And we're 3 days in a sell at this point. Hard to say. You see 3 red dots, and that's, we're not seeing the histogram for today yet, but I would say that it's trapped in between, especially with it being a red dot. Nice that it's perking up though. It's good that they're putting some action into it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see who that is. All right. From there, what's that? The Philippines, right? Yep, Philippines. So from there, we go to Hong Kong. It's been leading the markets down, I think. Especially right there, you can see there's the Hang Seng. You can see 3 solid days in a sell, lower again today, and the weekly, coming down fast is almost at the 0 line. We'll see tomorrow and Saturday how it all plays out, since the weekly is a day behind when it comes to those things. From there we go across to the Singapore Straits Times, who's probably taking a lot of the business away from Hong Kong at this point, since the communists control Hong Kong now. Right there's the Singapore Straits Times. You see here, still in a buy. Fast is moving up, actually. Yeah, 3 days in a buy. Could be 4 days in a buy at this point. Look at that. There's 3 right there. Yep, that's today. That's today. So, what you have is you have strength. I don't see, let's see, where you can see it's at the highs, of the last 3 months, and not backing off, benefiting from obviously future growth. And then we go over to the All Ordinaries Index out of Australia. Cheeky. There it is. So, you can see the weekly buying. You can see the daily trying to jump up yesterday, even with it being slammed down. I mean, it was interesting. Look at that. The histogram goes minus. Let's see, what is it? That's 2 days back. So that was the minus, and then yesterday it was trying to get into the plus. It was flat with a green dot, and then today it's probably driving down. So it's a 3rd day in the sell. Head over to the Nifty 50. There it is. There's the Nifty 50. You see it's a third day in a sell just like the ordinary was, but it's much clearer. And at the same time, you see it's 3 weeks in a buy. I'm holding up at high areas too. Oh no, that's the ordinary. That's not the Nifty 50 right there. No wonder it looked like that. There it is. Wow, look at that nice spike. So we got 7 days in a buy now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Histogram flying up, and we're in the second full week of a weekly buy. Taking out the highs there. How about that? I think that's all times. Let's put it this way. It's probably, let me go look. I'm curious. Let me put the Nifty 50 in there and go take a look at all-time highs. S-E-I. Okay, let's see where the all-time high is. There we go. And 5 years. Oh, yeah, it's a 5-year high. Yeah, it's an all-time high with no problem. Okay. All-time high. No problem. All right. From there, we'll go over to Europe, see what's going on in Europa. Let's see, where is it at? Europa. The DAX will jump out. Little cough again. Right there. There's the DAX. About 4 days in a sell. And still in a weekly buy. Let's see what Paris is up to this morning. Paris is there it is. You see there, it's 5-6 days in a sell and 2 weeks in a sell. And then there's the FTSE. FTSE is also doing that same thing. We've got about 4 days in a sell, going on a 5th day now as we speak. And still holding up on the weekly as we watch. So now let's go right to Bitcoin instead. And then we'll show you the American indices. But there's Bitcoin. 3 weeks in a buy. Battling with the sell as we speak. It gave us a red dot, but we're still in the buy. And if they're going to, if they're going to hold the gold and silver up the way they have been, it's hard to believe that we're not going to see Bitcoin stay up there too. I mean, we were basically inches away from all-time highs for the last 3 days. And so that is the... Oh, speaking of which, I understand Mr. Trump came out and is now taking donations in Bitcoin. He says it's a great alternative to having to deal with the Federal Reserve. See, the D's are doing their best to destroy the financial system altogether. They created the chaos of 2008, and they are, everybody laughs. They keep on saying they're going to do a digital currency. It's like, who would want to buy an American digital currency with the Federal Reserve with the finger on the switch? Nobody. It just shows you how out of touch they are. All right, from there we'll take a look at everything is firm because of this. I'll show you why it's all firm here. Right there. NVDA is now trading at, you see there, let me just emphasize this a little bit right there. You see it's at closed at 9.58 last night. Right now it's trading at 10. $1,016 as we speak. They're going to split the stock 10 to 1. And their earnings were 25 times greater than, I think they were looking for 15 and they were 25 times greater or something like that. It was definitely breakaway hot numbers, hot. And so since Navarra, 3 weeks in a buy and a daily buy, it's zipping and zooming up and away. So let's look at the S&P 500, what all the money managers try to base their benchmark against. There it is right there. You see it's up again at all-time highs. You see here it's just hanging on by a thread. On 3 weeks in a buy. From there we go over to NASDAQ right there. Same thing. Lots of buys for, I don't know, what's that? 5, 10, 15, 17 out of 17 days in a daily buy. And we're 3 full weeks in a buy. And then here is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. 4 weeks in a buy. And 2 days in a sell. Or is it 3 days now? I guess it's 3 days in a sell. And still flirting with the sell today on the 4th day. And then we're going to jump over to yesterday's action. And there is the transports. You see it was another down day for them yesterday. And that is the 22nd. It won't start ticking for another 13 minutes. Because it trades on the New York Stock Exchange time. And you can see it's been in a daily sell for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days now. 8 days in a sell. Or 7 days in a sell. I guess that's, what's that? That's 22nd. That's the 22nd. So we don't know what the 23rd looks like today yet. And you can see here, it was in a weekly sell last week. Let's just light that up. Yep. So it's been in a weekly sell for 3 weeks, as much as it's trying to get into a buy. And they're saying that the Dow, it's just only up about 41 points. It's not really lifting. It's, you're talking about the blue of the blue. You're talking about major corporations like General Tire and 7 or 8 of the tech companies now that are NASDAQ. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average is not a New York Stock Exchange index anymore. It is a full market index. 7 or 8 of the products are NASDAQ. So it changes the whole complexion. 22 of them are New York Stock Exchange stocks. And they're solid companies, like Boeing and so forth, as much as Boeing's been having problems. What else do we got here? I guess that's about it, traders. What can we look at next? Let's go take a look at a couple grains, and then we'll get out of here. So let's take a look at, start from wherever we find a grain. Take a look at, what is that? That's VIX. There's sugar. Let's take a look at sugar. That's fun. Sugar's been in a weekly sell for 9 out of the last 10 weeks. Or 9 straight weeks in a row. And you see here on the daily, wasn't a daily buy for a couple days right there. And then yesterday it closed in a daily sell again, but it was up for the day. But it's in a weekly sell, so there's no way you're going to take the long on that. From sugar, I wonder if we do coffee. We'll have to hunt down the coffee. That would be interesting to take a look at. There is July beans. And you can see it's been in a buy now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th day in a buy. That's today's trade. There's yesterday's histogram. And you can see 5 weeks in a buy too. Here is July corn. That's been in there for 6 full weeks in the weekly, 3 days in the daily, right there. Let's see. I know there's a wheat in there. Let's find that wheat. It's a ZW thing. Where's that wheat at? There it is, right there. And there is the wheat. Wheat's been in the daily buy for 4 solid days. And 2, 4, 6 full weeks. And that's the story, traders. Let's see. We don't have any questions. Nobody saying anything. It's been so quiet. I don't blame them. I just don't blame traders anymore, because until this is over with and we get rid of Mr. Biden and the Marxist White House, it is just going to be a fiasco. Just a total fiasco. It just doesn't seem to want to stop. Let's see. I guess we got to come up with a title. That's another thing. I mean, the titles are even being hard. I saw some interesting stuff on Goldman Sachs about how the hedge funds have been doing. And they've been, doing fair, overall. And Goldman Sachs's funds are holding up. So, we're in an economy and a market that at this point, no one wants to take too big a risk, and at the same time, there is a lot of risk out there, and that's the scary part about it all. Is that it'd be smart for money managers to go out and buy, 5-month puts, that type of thing, November puts, and sell November higher calls against their stocks. This way, if it lands in the wrong way, their equity is protected. Because I can tell you, they will kill the market if Trump loses. I have no doubt. I don't think they can. You can only fool. What's that old saying? Something about you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. I think we're at that point now. We're starting to get to that point. So, today's title, if anybody has an opinion of what I've been rambling about, I would gladly listen to what you might think we should call our title, and if not, I'll come up with something. And I would basically believe the title could be today is money more on the sideline than invested. If I put a D in there, sidelined, something like that, I can cut out on sideline. So I think that's what we'll go with. Money sidelined that. Let's see. Bing. Money sidelined, not invested. That's better. Money sidelined. There we go. And that's the title today. All right, traders. We will catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? TGIF. It's Friday, going into the 3-day weekend. So, and I will not be here on Monday. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart day.